All right, today we are diving into a story where what starts as a simple missing person case just explodes. We're talking about it spiraling into this multi-front crisis with an ancient mystery, a political firestorm, and a personal revelation that, honestly, could tear the whole team apart from the inside out. So the mission looked straightforward on paper, right? A team of investigators gets sent to Portland with one job: find the city's missing ruler, Prince Cayenne. But what they stumbled upon was so much older and way, way more dangerous than anyone could have guessed. Okay, let's get into it. The first clue, the first thread that starts to unravel this whole thing, it doesn't come from some informant in a back alley or a note found in the prince's office. Nope. It comes from a psychic vision that yanks one of the investigators thousands of miles away in his own mind.
So one of the team, Joshua, is just minding his own business when suddenly, bam, he's mentally ripped from his clinic and finds himself standing in this massive desert canyon. And his own words really capture the awe of it. He's seeing a, quote, monumental sculpture, a temple carved out of something so big it just boggles the mind. And the whole thing is lit up by hundreds of flickering candles.
Now, this vision wasn't just some random daydream. It gave them terrifyingly specific leads. The location? He knew it was the ancient city of Petra in Jordan. But there was more. Joshua felt this powerful supernatural pull, like a magnet, drawing him toward the temple, and that's when he saw a figure that matched the prince's description: hurry inside. So just like that, the entire mission changes. This isn't a missing person case anymore. It's a full-blown supernatural mystery. And, a little bit of research back in the real world only confirmed their worst fears. This wasn't just some tourist spot. For their kind, this place was something else, something way more significant. Okay, so here's the absolute kicker. Petra wasn't just a historical landmark. For ancient, unbelievably powerful vampires, it was a vital sanctuary. It offered this unique protection from the sun. But in the modern world, it is a strict, capital letters, no-go zone. So think about it. The missing prince was last seen running headfirst into a forbidden city, a place tied to beings of almost mythological power. All right, so while Joshua's peering into the ancient past, let's switch gears. Because back in present-day Portland, the team's political situation is just completely fracturing. It's all falling apart. The team was literally getting squeezed from both sides. On the one hand, their grip on the city's economic lifeline, the docks, was suddenly in jeopardy. Their key allies in the Union just vanished, poof, creating this massive power vacuum. And on the other hand, their diplomatic efforts basically blew up in their faces when their investigator, Zane, got into this ugly public confrontation with Trajan, the Anarch leader. And just like that, a really important, very fragile alliance is threatened. You can only keep a brave face for so long, right? The pressure cooker finally exploded. Zane, who was supposed to be the group's social face, just broke. He confessed how much strain he was under, trying to pretend like everything was under control in a city that seemed to fight him at every single turn. But you'd think that's enough drama, right? An ancient mystery, a political mess. Nope, because the most world-shattering revelation of all was about to come from inside their own ranks. So this part of the story is all about Matt, another one of the investigators. For years, he had operated under one fundamental bedrock truth. His powerful creator, Crawford, had met the final death. He was gone forever. End of story. And then, after having his own shocking vision, Matt comes back to the group, and he's not scared. He's not confused. He's filled with this manic joy. And he tells them, he's back. I found him. He never really left me. Now, to really get why this is such a massive deal, you have to understand what final death actually means in their world. It isn't just dying. It is absolute, irreversible. Your very soul is destroyed. There is no coming back, no do-overs. Game over. So what Matt is saying, it's not just a revelation, it's an impossibility. It breaks the fundamental rules of their existence. So let's take a breath and look at the situation. You've got an ancient supernatural mystery, a resurrected master who shouldn't exist, and a city that's politically tearing itself apart. What on earth do you do next? How do you even begin to strategize in that much chaos? But they came up with a pretty clever, if cautious, plan. They called it the controlled release plan. The idea was, look, we're not going to tell anyone the prince is in Petra. No way. Instead, we're going to leak a little rumor, just a whisper about a solid lead, to the city's leadership. Then we sit back and watch how they react. It was a brilliant political test, really, a way to see who might have wanted the prince gone and what they might do to keep him that way. And just when they thought they finally had a plan, a way to get back some small measure of control, well, the city of Portland had other ideas. It decided to throw one more catastrophic disaster right in their laps. Boom, a huge port crane, in their territory, the port of Portland, comes crashing down onto a ship. The docks are paralyzed. The longshoremen are, understandably, threatening to strike over safety concerns. So now, on top of everything else, they have an industrial crisis to solve. And you have to wonder, was this really just a tragic accident, or was it a very calculated act of sabotage? So, here's the real takeaway. Forget the simple mission they started with. That's long gone. They are now fighting a war on 3 completely different fronts, against an ancient evil in the desert, a ghost from their own past, and a city that is actively collapsing around them, which leaves us with one final, very urgent question.